Good afternoon. It's Karen Ziegler here, design thinker, and I help leaders revamp success. And I wanted to share a story with you today. It's actually a Indian folk tale, and I'm going to embellish it a little bit, but stick with me. I think you'll find that it has an application to you and your leadership and your team's performance and the solution of problems. It's about three blind men, and they wanted to experience an elephant. They had heard many stories of an elephant, and so they had a connection to the trainer at the king's stable, and they were led down there so that they could experience the elephant firsthand. The first blind man put his hand upon the trunk of the elephant, and he said, "Oh, it's like a giant snake, very powerful." The second man placed his hand upon the elephant's ear, and he said, "It's like a fan, delicate and gentle." And the third man placed his hands on the side of the elephant. He said, "It's like a strong wall, a fortress." And so the three blind men began to argue about what an elephant was like and what exactly the experience of the elephant was. And they continued to bicker so much that the trainer who had walked the elephant out shook his head, and he walked the elephant back to the stable. And the three blind men went back to their village, continually bickering about what exactly an elephant is like. And I want you to draw an analogy to the elephant, to perhaps what's going on in your business right now. You know, oftentimes as leaders, we can put ourselves in the place of the three blind men, thinking that we have the full picture or the perspective based on our interactions with the elephant. You know, perhaps the blind man at the snout is marketing, and they're out there shouting out the message, and they have one perspective of the elephant, and perhaps the blind man at the ear is the CFO, and he has his ear to the ground with the finances, and what they're telling him says another thing about the elephant, where perhaps the blind man at the side of the elephant is the CEO, and he just doesn't understand how this force of this wall can be penetrated. So depending on where you are in the organization, you may have a different perspective of the elephant and how to conquer the elephant or how to work with the elephant. But one key thing I like about this story is the blind men neglected the trainer. You know, the trainer spends probably 8-10 hours a day with dozens of elephants, training them, understanding their personalities, their psychology, what works with working with an elephant, what doesn't. Yet they didn't have one question for the trainer. And so my thought for today is, do you find yourself bickering maybe with the other leaders in your organization about what to do with this elephant? Perhaps the elephant for your organization is what the COVID virus has done to sales, or perhaps it's what the COVID virus has done to your supply chain. But if you find yourself, whatever that elephant is, identify the elephant for you, and you find yourself bickering with other leaders in the room about what to do with the elephant, how to tame the elephant, I want you to consider who spends the most time with the elephant. Do you have that person's perspective? Do you have the perspective of all the people that are involved in taking care of the elephant? I find when I'm working with leaders and helping them gain through perspective through the process of design thinking that there are often key elements of the perspective that are missing. And until we have every element of perspective about the elephant that we're dealing with, we're missing the whole truth. We only have part of the truth. And so the problem is not solved, or it is solved incompletely, or perhaps for a short time, but not lasting solutions. So that's my story for you today. Tell me, what is your elephant that you're dealing with, and whose perspective have you gotten, or maybe whose perspective do you need to get?